Hi, it's Paul. I want to talk to you today about putter fitting. And I want to go over an example of a putter fitting that I just recently did with a client that changed his game significantly. Now, putter fitting, what is the purpose of it? Well, the purpose of it is to get the club face square so that the ball travels on a start line that you intended. If your ball is off the start line, then it just doesn't go to the hole. And all of the things that you think may be important probably are not when you get down to it, nuts and bolts. What is important is, can my ball roll to where I want it to? That's all that matters. Nothing else matters. So I want to give an example of some data that we collected on a person recently and explain how that data worked and explain how tiny little changes can make a huge difference. So what is a start line? Well, a start line is the direction that your ball is rolling right off the face. And if we intended to put our ball rolling dead straight and it veered off at 1 or 2 degrees, then we would have a start line of 1 or 2 degrees. And does 1 or 2 degrees really make that much of a difference? It's a very small amount. Well, it depends on the length of the putt. So I want to go over a chart with you and a couple of diagrams and explain what happens when we improve your club face strikes by 1 degree or 2 degrees or a half a degree. And this person that came in for a putter fitting improved their face angle from 2.5 degrees to a half degree. And I'll talk about what that meant in the end of it also. Here's a little diagram that shows a series of holes in a row. Now, this is not to scale, but it shows us that as the holes get farther away, that same start line becomes more important because the mouth of the angle opens up and we miss holes that are far away. At close, some of those holes are going to be achievable. At distance, they're going to be missed. How much of a difference does a couple of degrees make? So the first thing we have to know is that a golf hole is 4.25 inches wide. That means from the center of the hole to any edge, it is half of that, which is 2.125 inches. So if we're aiming straight at the middle of the hole, we can only ever be off by a maximum of 2.125 inches from the center of the hole before we miss the hole. So now we build a chart and we look at, well, what does that mean? The left-hand column down, 0.2, 0.5, 0.8, 1.0, etc., that is the degree of the start line leaving where the stroke is. And across the top, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, and so on, that is the length of putt that we're trying to make. Everything in a green box is a putt that would go in the hole. Everything in yellow is a putt that could still go in the hole, but it's pace dependent because some of the ball will be outside the edge of the hole. Red are putts that miss the hole completely because the start line brings it more than 2.125 inches. So red physically doesn't touch the hole. Yellow touches the hole, and if the pace is right, it can fall in. And green, the whole ball is inside the hole. So what difference does a degree make? Well, let's look at, say, 0.5 degree start line. 0.5 degree start line means that at 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot, and 10 foot, the ball is pouring into the hole because it's all inside the edge. At 12 feet, 15 feet, and 20 feet, we're still inside that edge of the hole, but some of the ball is outside the hole, so it's a pace-dependent stroke. The ball can still go in, but it has to have pace. So let's look at an example. Let's pick a start line in degrees and a particular length. So let's say at 1 degree and at 10 feet. Well, if we come across our chart, 10 feet and 1 degree puts us at 2.09 inches from the center of the cup. Now, the cup is 2.125 inches wide from the center, so that putt still can physically go in if the pace is correct. Well, what happens if we are 12 feet at 1 degree start line? Well, at 12 feet, we're now 2.51 inches from the center of the cup, which means that we have missed the hole based on that start line. So the start line staying at 1, but going from 10 to 12 feet means that we now missed the hole. Let's look at it another way. Let's say at 10 feet, I'm at 0.5 degree start line. Well, I can see at 10 feet, I'm going to pour in And at 12, 15, and 20 feet, I can still go in based on speed. But what happens if I increase that to 2 degrees? Well, at 2 degrees, I can see that I'm possibly going to make the putt based on pace at 3, 4, and 5 feet. None of the balls will pour in like they did previously. They have to fall in based on pace. And that from 6 feet and up, it's completely missing. So now we refer back to the client that I had. He had an average start line of 2.5 degrees, which meant that he could make a putt pace dependent up to only 4 feet based on his ball leaving at 2.5 degrees. That's not very much to work with. We got him down to 0.5 degree, which means that pace dependent, he can now make up to 20 feet. Changing a degree of start line or a degree of face contact at impact is humongous in golfing. And that's how putter fitting works. Between the length, the grip style, the head style, the hosel, the alignment, we find a putter that brings your start line down as low as possible so that your ball is still tracking inside the hole at distances farther than they did before. And now nothing is subjective. Everything is quantifiable by data. We're not looking at designs. We're not looking at this is what's hot on tour. We're looking on what worked for you. And that's how you hole more putts. We focus, the close holes become really easy because the start line is right in the middle. And the longer holes become easier also because the start line is still staying inside the hole. So if you would like to get a putter fitting and you would like to find out how this works for you, give me a call. We'll find something that works the best for you, and so you can make more holes and you can play better golf. Thanks again for watching. I'm Paul Kelly.